Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the Soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there, and welcome to all my listeners. Today, I'm recording a special episode. I'm not in my usual location. I am staying in Crete, in Greece. I'm on the go. And I first of all want to apologize for the recording conditions. You might hear a little bit of echo in the recording room I'm currently sitting in. Also, it's a little bit more noisy outside. And because I'm on the go, the whole preparation of the podcast was a little bit topsy-turvy. Today I'll be going a little bit freestyle. And this means that today we're going to be talking about at least the title I chose was Numbers in the City. And the purpose of this episode is really to speak about things you see in daily life and see how they are represented by the numbers, or how the numbers are alive in them, how numbers, in other words, behave in everyday life situations. But before I dive into that, first of all, I want to welcome you if you are new here. In my podcast, we discuss numerology as a path for inner transformation, spiritual growth, and self-understanding. I personally attempt to make numerology accessible and applicable for everyday life matters, and I do my best to provide grounded information so that you can apply numerology in order to make your life even just one step better, more conscious, more balanced, more aligned with your purpose and with your soul. Now, if you want to dive deeper into numerology, here are a few ways you can do so. First, you can book a numerology reading with me. In a reading, you can ask any question that is burning in your life, and you can get precise answers tailored especially to you. You can read more about my readings and contact me through the link in the episode description. Now, if you wish to study numerology on a deeper level or even pursue it as a career, then please check out my 2 numerology study paths. First out, check out my self-study numerology courses that give you the rare opportunity to learn numerology online at your own pace, on your laptop, your mobile device, or your tablet. My library currently contains 2 self-study courses, but more are coming up. Or if you want to be initiated into the rare depths of numerology, you can sign up to my complete path of certification, where you study directly with me one-on-one, all the way from a total beginner, if that's where you're at, to a numerology expert, and you get certified as a professional numerologist. Again, to read more about both study paths, check out the links in the episode description. So, as I landed in Greece, I went out into the city, into Heraklion, or Iraklio, as they call it here. And I love being in Crete. It's sunny. It's it's rather close to Germany, where I live. And I also have some family here. And when I landed here, I immediately felt the warmth and the sun and somewhat different atmosphere to the more, I would say, deep green and strong gray and seriousness that I feel in Germany. When I think about the seriousness and that sort of, that um, more what I would call perhaps grim, or it's not just grim, but it's a bit of a heavier atmosphere that I see in Germany, also more serious, more structured. I usually attribute it to the number 4. When I think of Germany and my experience in Germany, things have to be by the rule on the one hand, and on the other, there's a sense of stability. Things are very stable. things are neat. The streets look good. Things are being taken care of. In fact, sometimes to a fault. Sometimes you walk in the cities of Berlin and you're sort of frustrated because there's no time where there's not something being worked on. A building being repaired, a road being repaired, some pipes being repaired. There's always, right, something is always under construction, and that's really the four energy, always making sure that the foundations are right and strong and reliable. But having landed in Greece, and right, my wife and I have done that deliberately to change atmosphere and to be in a sunnier space. You land in this atmosphere that is a little bit more easygoing from the emotional perspective. It's much less organized. In fact, my wife and I immediately noticed how, again, and it's not my first time here, but it's just a different part of the city of Iraklio. We're just, walking in some other neighborhood and how the sidewalks are barely existent. And if they are, they're so topsy-turvy. You have so many, nothing is just straight. There's many sudden blocks or stairs or something half built, and you really see something a little bit less consistent. People are definitely warmer, and we went out yesterday evening, or the evening before that, and we were just walking in the city, and it was nice. Just this sort of like bubbly energy, more happy, simple. Um, some bands playing out in the streets. To me, that it reminds me of the energy of number 3. And when you think of this, you might think of 3 or 5, but to me, this energy reminds more of the 3, because the 3 is about the simplicity of the moment, the joy in the moment. It's not, had it been a bit more adventurous and daring, I would maybe say 5, but it was more about the simplicity of the curiosity of seeing something that you don't get to experience in Berlin, and just the simple joy of it, and the music and the smells and the nice food, and just the people with different colors and textures, right, walking on the street, and a band over here and then another band over there, and it's just very lovely. Nothing too hectic. To me, this really represents number 3, that stands for the now. 3 is really about the appreciation of now, the appreciation of simple things, and really enjoying them, really appreciating them, really just having that sense of contentment with simple things. Now, I was, I continued walking, and in the morning after, I was walking in the park, and again, I think that generally speaking, Greece does not remind me, like, if I try to capture like numbers, right? I don't feel that number 4, like Germany, could really be an energy I would really attribute to Germany, to Greece, pardon me. They're definitely not a 4 energy. They're not really organized. I don't also feel the 8, because I don't feel like a lot of ambition. There is some kind of hardworking element here, but not so much from the place of discipline. So it's more from like, I need to do that, which actually might be a bit of a 14-5 karmic death energy, because the 14-5, it's like, I actually want to enjoy myself, but I'm sort of forced to do things that block my ability to just be free. This could be that. It could be also a little bit the shadow of the 3, which is I I really want to just enjoy the moment, but I can't really enjoy the moment. I have responsibilities that weigh down on me. Could also be a 13-4, which is again a 4, but more like a 13 that is a little bit resistant to the need to take responsibility, but none of them really fit. Um, the description of Greece. We also love to travel, my wife and I in general. So like we travel to Italy as well. We have family and also a summer house there. Italy is very particular. Italy, if I had to think of a number, right? Like the food is great. They enjoy this sort of romantic atmosphere. The food is like a really important element. The language and the expression. There definitely there definitely is something, I would say a combination of a 3 and a 5. There's a combination there. There's a combination, definitely. Maybe even a 6. Like if I would have to sort of conjure up some kind of combination that would represent a country or Italy or the energies I feel, it would be like the combination of 3, 5, and 6, which is sort of artistic, romantic, but also, loving experiences and expression, self-expression, enjoying the good things in the moment, some form of hedonistic atmosphere, which really lines up very well with a 5. Also the enjoyment of the moment of the 3. The 6 really stands for the sort of romance and love, and which is also very representative of Italy, which the feeling you get there. It's fascinating, and I'll compare it to other things. Like, so I'm just sharing with you a little bit of my personal life here, right? So my wife and I, we have family scattered all over the world. And the next stop that comes to mind is the United States. Last summer, we spent 2.5 months in Oakland, California. It's not our first time there. But when I really feel into the United States, again, this is going to be a pretty sweeping statement, but that's not on purpose. This is it's definitely going to be a generalization. But by and large, I think the US has a strong 5 energy. Maybe some form of 9 in terms of the universality of it, influencing like everything across the globe. But the 5 is like very, very strong with the United States. This like, okay, dream big, everything is possible, like daring and this youthful energy. So to me, that's very much the United States. There's also like this vastness of nature, which is, yeah, fits very well to 5 and 9, also 5 and 3. To me, that's very strong in the United States. It's just generally fascinating for me to see how numbers just I was walking the streets when I was thinking about this episode, and I was realizing, oh my gosh, like I have to release an episode every second Sunday, and I'm between flights and between just places, and I'm not having the time to arrange everything I need to arrange. And so I was coming up with this idea. I'll do just numerology on the go, like numbers as they come to me, as I observe things around me. And what does that tell me? How do the numbers embody themselves in everyday life situations? And I was just looking at people moving and the cars in the road and the noise. And I was trying to reflect, like, what numbers am I seeing here? Right? Like on some level, you can also see this sort of 8 energy. Like I was looking at all those cars on the roads and people rushing from here to there, needing to make ends meet, having to overcome the obstacle, having to do what they have to do. It's like, okay, I maybe don't want to do it, but I have to do it. And it's sort of like this pushing through energy. And I saw the 8. It was nice. And that's how I came up with this episode. I said, like with the idea, I said like, yeah, I can see the numbers just like right here in front of me. They're playing out. And I want to share that with my audience. So before I share any more thoughts, if you're appreciating my podcast and enjoying this episode and you want to keep learning more grounded, applicable, high quality numerology, then first of all, make sure to click the subscribe button or the follow button and turn on the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from. And make sure to become part of my community and support my work. This really goes a long way in helping me produce these episodes. And also make sure to follow me on Substack, where I write in-depth content about numerology and Dharma. The link is in the episode description. And lastly, my friends, make sure to comment. The comment section is active, and I love interacting with you guys, listening to your thoughts, listening to your ideas, knowing what you think. I always try to answer whatever I can, whenever I can. So having said that, let's just come back to talking numbers. And again, pardon me for noises. Things are a little bit more squeaky here, and the room is not allowing for the best sound here. So again, improvised conditions. Here, let's just look at what we have and see how the numbers interact or correlate to that. Improvised conditions. What do you think? What number would you attribute to improvised conditions? You see, to me, improvised conditions is 5 par excellence. Like, this is simply number 5, having to come up with something, having to deliver something, to communicate it in a way that's accessible and approachable to everyone who's listening. And to me, that's what's happening right here, right now. We are, or I am, in a position where I want to deliver something to you guys. I want to deliver something that is understandable, digestible, communicatable, and I am in completely improvised position here. I'm in an apartment in Iraklio in Greece. I am not clear about the Wi-Fi conditions here. Everything is sort of like last moment operation. I'm sitting in a little attic here with nothing in a room on the floor recording this to you guys, just because I want to deliver this on time. I want you to learn and feel into the numbers. That's my responsibility. And that's such a funny situation of a 5 needing to improvise. At the same time, there's this sense of responsibility, like, hey, these are my people, these are my community, this is my community, these are my audience. I want them to have an episode to listen to and to think about. And this is where I see perhaps the energy of number 6, the sense of responsibility, community, knowing that there are other people who love listening to these episodes, who are inspired, who want to listen and feel into the numbers. That's really number 6. Number 6 thinks about the others, has the sense of responsibility. Even if it's not comfortable for me, I'm showing up because of you guys, because I want you to keep thinking numerology, learning numerology, improving your lives, feeling better about yourselves through the numbers. And that's really a quality of 6. There perhaps is also like a quality of 4 with the commitment, like showing up no matter what. I would say there's also some 9 energy, because the 9 is about distributing the information and the knowledge universally, always making sure that everybody has access to it, because eventually this podcast is for free. And so that's what I see right now. And the whole idea of this episode was, I thought like, wow, if I can speak to you guys how I see the numbers in any moment, in any given moment. Right now, I am completely improvised. I am simply sharing with you experiences and then how they correlate with numbers. If I can share that with you and I can give you a deeper feeling of the numbers and how they are represented and embodied in everyday life, then you guys will improve as aspiring numerologists or practicing numerologists, even if it's just dabbling with numerology. I want those who follow me to become people who intuit numbers, who don't just parrot things they read in books. And I've seen that happen. I've seen people come to me who've already studied numerology, and I would just say probably didn't study with good teachers or didn't study well, because they were just parroting general words, but they did not know the numbers. They did not understand what it looks like, you see? What does it look like? The other day, here's another situation. The other day I was speaking to a friend, and this friend is undergoing some kind of upheaval in their relationship. And this person told me about how their partner complains that there's an issue with communication, that there's something about them that doesn't want to be close. And he told me that there is something true about that. He admitted that. And as this person admitted that, I thought about it. And he said, I like my aloneness. And lo and behold, this person has 2 ones in his sacred triad. I mean, just get that. It's incredible. Now, the person doesn't know anything about numerology. He just tells me, Tom, I like my aloneness. I like to be alone. I mean, I don't feel like I want to necessarily open up emotionally in that way. And in many ways, that fits number 1. That really, really fits number 1. 2 ones in the sacred triad. It's unbelievable. Add to that a 22-4, a master number. It's also not an emotional number. It's a strong energy. 22-4 and 2 ones, all in the upper triad, the sacred triad. Life path expression number, solar number. And you got a person who's very much a leader, a person like someone who's their own person. And needless to say that this person is in many ways is simply meant to be individualistic and not necessarily meant to be an emotional person. Their language of emotions is different. It's more reserved. And that was fascinating. Again, I'm just like always fascinated here. As you can see, I'm sort of like jumping intuitively from one topic or situation or event or a person to the other, simply to show you how numbers, they can even be reflected in a painting that you see, or an apartment that you get a feeling for, or an event that you're looking at outside, or the weather, or a behavior, or whatever, a world event. So, let's say for me, I live almost 15 years in Germany, but I'm originally from Israel. And Israel for me was always a very creative and hectic place at the same time. I could definitely see the inventive nature, which is very much a 1, I would say, with a 5 perhaps as well, like this experimental spirit. At the same time, something very hectic and very sort of stressful. So it's hard to think, what would I attribute that to? I would say that there's something about Israel where the roots are severed because perhaps of the history of the Jewish people. The roots feel very severed. And I would say that hits the root chakra, and the root chakra is always related to number 4. So I would say, right, in number 4, the sense of existential threat, the sense of existential trauma, I think it really goes back to number 4. And by the way, this can be true to every nation. When I think about the Tibetan nation that was also persecuted and sort of banished from their land, and or at least partly, and right, and suffer from like horrible persecution, and the roots are severed, right? Many of them had to escape to India and take refuge. Also a severed 4, again, another situation. In many ways, by the way, if we think of Mother Earth or planet Earth, Earth in many ways is the 4 energy. Earth is about structure. It's about matter. It's about slow and steady growth. Imagine those billions of years that life took to evolve from one form to the other. Billions of years, such patience, such steadiness. Matter forming slowly into different forms. That's a number 4 big time. To me, planet Earth in many ways is a number 4. So if any one of you has ever, thought that number 4 is not that impressive or boring or whatever, then think again, because you're living on a big number 4. You're literally held, nourished, and fed by planet Earth, which is none other than number 4, feeding you with its immense strength and stability. It gives you that sense of ground, a ground under your feet. We are, one can say, I am Italian, I'm Israeli, I'm American, I'm whatever, I'm German, I'm Chinese, but we're all standing on planet Earth, for God's sake, right? We're all standing on number 4. We're dependent on number 4, on the structure, on food, on water, natural resources. Number 4, my friends. Astonishing. Again, astonishing for me as well, because I didn't think about that before. I'm just like completely improvising here. In the numerology jam session, my friends. Our first numerology jam session together. But I think I won't keep going. I think it's good. It's enough for now. I think I wanted to simply go off the top of my head a little bit and see what comes up and how the numbers relate to what comes up completely spontaneously. And I think and I hope that by sharing this completely unprepared, somehow I managed to communicate to you the feeling of looking at something and analyzing the number in it. Numbers are everywhere. Numbers are simply representations of actual life circumstances, actual life energies, cosmic phenomena, life phenomena, people, events, colors, textures, everything. Everything you see eventually can be represented by the numbers. And that's why I love, diagnosing people's lives with numerology and helping people grow and accept what they are with numerology, because it simply speaks in such a pure way about who they are, what they're made of, what they're meant to be, what you're meant to be. And, not to mention, teaching numerology, which this is just like a pure joy for me. Like cultivating other professional numerologists who can really help others. That's the greatest gift. What can I say, my friends? I'm happy. I'm sorry that this was a little bit like a different quality in terms of maybe content, maybe circumstances of recording. So again, pardon me for that. But still, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, and you want to support this work and keep learning deep numerology, then remember to subscribe, follow, click the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from, and make sure to become part of my community and support this work. Remember to follow me on Substack to get some Dharma and numerology content. The link is in the episode description. Of course, remember to comment. That's great, for us, for you, for me, having a conversation, being in touch. Remember also, if you want to experience numerology firsthand, to check out my numerology readings. Great way to get to know yourself. And of course, last but not least, if you want to study numerology, check out my self-study numerology courses. And definitely the in-depth numerology certification studies if you want to acquire a deeper mastery of numerology. My friends, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I wish you well wherever you are. And as always, I'll see you in the next episodes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.